So something I love to do every year is try to predict the top 10 highest grossing movies of the summer. It's something I've been doing for a couple years now, and since we didn't have a box office pretty much at all last year, have really been looking forward to doing it this year. Now, not every movie will be equal. Some will be coming out later in the summer, so more theaters will be open and more seating should be available. But I do think that there's enough movies coming out this summer to have a good competition. So let's check out what I think is going to be the top 10 highest grossing movies of the summer. So what some may find to be a controversial pick, I have ShangChi being the highest grossing movie of the summer. ShangChi really has three big advantages going for it. The first would be its name. It has the Marvel brand behind it, which is pretty much the closest to knowing a guaranteed hit before it comes out. Timing is also a big advantage ShangChi has. It's the last movie to come out this summer on Labor Day weekend, so hopefully most theaters will be open and we might be back to max capacity seating. Lastly, as of recording this, ShangChi is going to be only in theaters, so I think the distribution of the movie will also help it. A lot of these movies that are doing day and date releases on streaming service seem to have a pretty steep second and third weekend drop off, so I think ShangChi will have pretty strong legs too. Now, if you follow box office, you probably know that Labor Day weekend is a notoriously bad weekend for the box office. The highest grossing movie is still The Sixth Sense in its fifth weekend back in 1999. But we're living in the age of box office anomalies, and last year Tenet was able to be the fourth highest grossing movie over that 3-day weekend. So I think ShangChi being a Marvel movie, being only in theaters, and being the last movie to come out this summer, all of those are going to really come together to be a perfect storm and hopefully make this movie a lot of money. In second place, I have Black Widow. Like I said before, Black Widow is a Marvel movie. It's pretty much the closest thing to knowing a guaranteed hit before it comes out. And the Black Widow solo movie has been talked about for years. I found this funny article actually back in 2016 that says Joss Whedon would love to direct the Black Widow solo movie. There's a lot of things wrong with the timeline we live in, but let's be happy that we didn't get that. I've been seeing Black Widow trailers for literally years now, so everyone knows this movie's coming. Whenever I hear people talk about wanting to go back to the theater, I hear them saying, yeah, we gotta go back, we gotta go see Black Widow, we gotta go see, that's just like the first movie I hear everybody say when they say, I can't wait to go back to the theater and see. So I definitely think that number 1 and number 2 slot will be held by Black Widow and Shang-Chi, but I think it really just matters which order you find it to be in. I kept going back and forth for this number 3 spot, but I ended up landing on The Suicide Squad being the third highest grossing movie. Suicide Squad is notoriously a bad movie, but when you look at the box office, it's absolutely no joke. It was one of the highest grossing movies that year. Mixed Suicide Squad being a pretty big name with James Gunn doing it, I think you have a recipe for a really big movie. It'll be interesting to see if that stigma from the first Suicide Squad carries over into this movie. I really don't know what the general audience reception will be, if they think this is a new movie, if they think this is going to be a sequel and they're confused why Jared Leto isn't coming back. Even though he gets a lot of hate online, I see a lot of regular people actually kind of like the Jared Leto Joker, so it's going to be very interesting to see how the general audience reacts to this movie. But obviously, I think it's going to go over very well because I have it in the number 3 spot. So the other movie I was juggling Suicide Squad with is Fast 9. I do think that the franchise interest may have peaked back at Furious 7, but these movies are still making a buttload of money. So it'll be interesting to see if this movie continues the downward trend of the domestic box office, or because it's been so long since we've had one of these movies, then people are clamming to get back to them. Also, Han is coming back, and I haven't seen a single one of these movies, but I know Han's a big deal, so pretty much a guaranteed billion-dollar movie. Finishing up the top 5, I have A Quiet Place 2. Now, A Quiet Place 2 is like Shang-Chi and F9, where it's only going to be in theaters when it comes out, so that's definitely going to help with the legs. The first Quiet Place pretty much exceeded everyone's expectations of it as far as box office. It was such a massive hit, and it kind of was a career resetter for John Krasinski. Obviously he's going to be known as Jim. It's what I know him as. Everyone knows and loves Jim. But as far as me, when I saw that movie, I kind of saw him in a new light, which I didn't think was going to be possible. Back in Jack Ryan and all these other movies he's doing, I still see him as Jim. This was the first movie that I really saw him not as Jim, to be honest, and I think that there's a lot of not rumors, but a lot of talk about him being in Marvel and stuff, and I don't know if I really want that. It's such the basic casting at this point, but that because of A Quiet Place, that's why he's in these conversations, I think, because that movie was just so good. That movie really put his name in a new light to a lot of people. So that's why I think A Quiet Place 2 will be capping off the top 5. So at 6th place, I have The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. It's kind of easy to forget that The Conjuring is a pretty big franchise and all the movies actually do pretty good. And I actually really enjoy these movies. I like The Conjuring 1 and I saw The Conjuring 2 recently and it exceeded my expectations as far as a horror sequel. I actually really enjoyed it. So having that Conjuring name in the title, I don't think there's any reason to think that this movie won't be a big hit. Up next, I have Space Jam: A New Legacy. Space Jam is a movie that I have never seen, but it is also a movie that I hear talked about in high regard. I see many people my age look back at that Space Jam movie with very fond memories. Mix that with LeBron James, one of the biggest stars on the planet, and I think this movie has some potential to do some numbers. This movie is also doing the Ready Player One thing where they just throw in every franchise they have because, people like seeing stuff they recognize. So why not throw in, the Iron Giant so he can do, the dunk? Why not? That sounds awesome, right? Yeah, do it. So this movie is going to have a lot of talk about. I've already heard a lot of people talk about it. I don't get it either, especially with this movie. Very weird. But, it might work. People recognize the Iron Giant, they recognize LeBron James, and they recognize the Space Jam name. So, hey, that should be enough to sell a ticket, right? So in number 8, I have Jungle Cruise, a movie that I have heard no one talk about for pretty much 2 years now. Jungle Cruise is a fun ride at Disney World, but it's not much more than that to me. This movie has kind of been forgotten about, it seems like. With every movie shuffling new release dates every 5 or 6 months, I have not heard anything from this movie in a very long time. So why do I have it in my top 10? Well, it's a Disney movie that stars The Rock. I mean, you would think they'd be promoting this movie right now. It's a Disney movie starring The Rock. Should be pretty big, right? We have the franchise that has the highest grossing movies year after year after year, and we have the movie star who gets paid the most year after year after year. It sounds like it's only a recipe for success, right? I don't know why this movie isn't being talked about in the slightest. It's probably pretty bad, let's be real. I'm not really a fan of these random Disney live action remakes. It's one thing to remake your original movies, which I kind of hate, but these random rides, it makes no sense to me. So this movie, I don't know what's going to happen with it. I still think it's going to be in that number 8. A lot of families might go. I don't know if this is on Disney Plus, but I think it's just theaters right now. So I believe that families will be going to this movie and that it has a chance to make a little bit of money, but I don't hear anyone talk about it right now. So that's why I only have it in number 8. In the 9th spot, I have Candyman. Candyman is a movie that I hear a lot of people my age call a childhood classic. It's one of those horror movies that you see at a young age and it kind of makes an impact on you. I know that happened with me. I saw the original Candyman on a PSP, I think. So it has that name to it and it also has Jordan Peele attached, which is definitely going to sell some tickets. And it also comes out later in the summer. So like I've been saying for a lot of these, it has that not really that fair benefit that more theaters are going to be open, seating might be more available. It potentially could make more money just because it has the option for more seats being available. But I do have Candyman here in the number 9 spot. Alright, we made it to number 10, and to finish the list off, I have Cruella. Cruella is going to be an interesting movie. I'm really not sure how it's going to perform. I know it'll be in the top 10 because it's a Disney movie with a big star. It's that name, Cruella, very recognizable. I know it'll definitely make money, but I'm not sure how much money. Cruella hasn't been getting much attention from what I see. I don't really hear many people talk about it. When I look at trailer views, I see it has numbers, so I assume that people want to see it, but I just haven't heard anybody talk about it. I do think this movie will make money because it's a Disney movie and families can go to it. Pretty much that reason alone. I'm just not sure how much money. And I do think that being on Disney Plus the same day as it comes out, that could take away some traffic. This is a family movie. Families are going to save some money if they can buy it on Disney Plus. So there's my list. I'm pretty much 100% certain that I'll get something wrong on it, but let's see how much I get wrong. I would love to know what everybody thinks the top 10 will be, so if you are watching this video and it is still summer 2021, please comment down below what you think the top 10 will be. And I just want to thank anybody who's watching this. I am almost certain that nobody will ever see this because I have 0 subscribers, and I'm pretty much just making this for myself. But on the off chance that someone has made it this far and is watching this and enjoyed it, well, thank you so much. I love doing this. I love box office. It's something I look at every single day. And I've always wanted to make videos on it, so this is something that I've always wanted to do. So thank you.